Hi, this is Linda Noss, and this is the third video in the library series. So at this point you should have a book class that has two constructors, a toString method, two getters, two setters. And then you should have a testing class that has a variety of ways of testing the different books and making sure that most of these methods in the book class work. There's two methods we haven't tested yet, and these are the two getters, the get title and the get author. In order to do that, I want to see if I can grab a book in my testing program and just get the author and print it out, for instance. So I'm going to type a system.out.print, and then I'm going to use one of the three books. Doesn't really matter which one we use, but I'm going to use just my book one. And then when I hit the dot and control space bar, I get my list, and I want to just get the author and print out the author. Okay, and then on the next line, I'm going to also print, I want to test the get title, so I'm going to do another system .out.print. And I'm going to use my book again. This time I'm going to use a print line, because that'll give me a carriage return when it's all said and done. Dot get title, and then I'm going to just put this. Now, whenever you use a method from the book class, you have to make sure to attach it to an instance of the book class. So for instance, when we created my book 1, my book 2, and my book 3, each one of these are an instance of the book class. So if I tried to, let me just compile this, make sure it works first. Yep. But if I tried to say get author without telling the computer what to get the author of, so if I just said get author here and try to compile it, I would get an error message because it wouldn't understand what method, what the get author method does, because it's not attached to the book class. And the reason why it's not attached to the book class is because I haven't attached it to an instance variable of type book. So I have to make sure that whenever I use one of my methods, I use one of my books first. So let's just quickly compile this and then run it and see if it works. And you'll see that it's right here, Lewis Carroll, Alice in Wonderland. So that seems to work just fine. The reason there's no space in there is because in my testing program I did not put a space in there. So if I want a space, I'd have to do this. Space it and then compile it again and quickly run it again, and you would see that a space would be in there right here. So those methods obviously work. There's one other kind of constructor I want to tell you about. It's called a copy constructor. Now let's just say that these books were going to be in a library, and a lot of times a library is going to have more than one copy of specific books, especially if it's a popular book that a lot of people want to check out. They might buy 5 or 6 or maybe even 10 copies of the book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the tester the ability to copy a book in case I need it. So I'm going to create a copy constructor here. Now in order to copy the book, I have to basically copy its author and its title, because that's how we're defining the book. So I'm going to start this constructor the same way I started the other constructors, with just the word public and the word book, capital B, and then what I want to do is from the outside world, or as a parameter, I want to use a copy of the book. So I'm going to be bringing in a book object. I'm just going to call it B. You can call it anything you want. I'm calling it B. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the author from the B book and the title from the B book into the title and the author here. So I'm just going to say title equals B. If I hit the dot here and then it doesn't do it. Okay, so I'm just going to say title, and then I'm going to take the author of this book and set equal to the author of the B book. And essentially it's how you create a copy constructor. I'm going to go ahead and compile it. I'm going to come over here and I want to test this. So I'm going to have to create a new book. So I'm going to say book, my book 4, and I'm going to set that equal to new book. And I want this book to be exactly the same as book 3. So I'm just going to say book 3 here, or my book 3, as the case may be. And then down here, what I'm going to do is to test it to see if it worked, is I'm just going to do a system.out.print. And then I'm going to say, okay, what do I want to print out? I want to print out my book 4. And if I've done this correctly, my book 4 should be the same as my book 3, which is Jennifer Jones in alphabet 1, 2, 3. So let me just see if this works. I'm going to save it, compile it, and run it. You can see this is On the Highway, Jennifer Jones, and so I know that my 4th book has been copied. So that's called a copy constructor. It's used quite often to create constructors when it's appropriate. So those are just some of the things you can do in a book class. Now you can put any other methods in here you would like. If you can think of methods you would like to put in for the book class that you might need to use, then you can put those in. Or if, as we're working our way through this series, we find we need other methods in our book class, we can always go and add more books in. But that's it for now. What I would like you to do is to create your own copy constructor and to test your own getters from your programs the same way I have done it here. So when you're done doing that and everything works out okay, come back and we'll go on to video number 4. Thanks, and we'll see you later.